What are the wise ways to give money to your adult children? Are there limits you need to be aware of? Are there strategies you need to consider? Got 3 ideas coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. All right, I don't know when you're absorbing this content, but right now it's getting to the later part of the year and you're thinking of giving. And a lot of times when you've got adult children, one of the things that you're considering giving is just financial gifts. You're writing a check, giving them money. And is there a smart way to do that? Is there a wise way, a wise approach to take? And there actually is. So I want to hit the 3 common ways that you should consider giving money to adult children if that's in your financial plan, if that's something you want to do. So the first, and we get this question all the time, is you can just give a gift, write a check, or transfer money, or whatever it is, just give cash to that adult child, to that family member. And we get this question probably more often than any other question throughout the year, and that is, how much can I give before it would be taxable, okay? And first of all, the gift is not going to be taxable to the individual, okay? But there could be a gift tax return that you would need to create, and we all have this enormous gift tax limit, but I'll explain here in a second. The number that you're thinking of or that you want to hear is $15,000. $15,000 is the annual gift tax exclusion or gift exclusion amount, okay? And so that means you can give anyone else up to $15,000 a year, not have to tell anyone about it. They don't care. It doesn't matter, okay? As long as you're giving cash, right? It doesn't matter, all right? Now, there is gift splitting as well, meaning if you are married and you want to give to one individual, you and your spouse can each give $15,000, so $30,000 to that individual and not worry about it. And if that individual is married, you and your spouse can give $30,000 to each of them without having to report it. So $60,000 total is completely under the radar in a gift splitting scenario where you don't need to worry about it. So if this holiday season or coming up, you want to give to your adult child or to a family member, give some cash, you can do so giving up to $15,000 more when you're considering gift splitting and not have to worry about it. If you give more than that, then you'll just need to file a gift tax return. Doesn't mean that any taxes due. We're all allowed, and they're considering changing these rules right now, but I mean, nearly $11 million we can each give someone else before it actually starts becoming taxable. But when you give more than that $15,000, more if you're doing gift splitting, in any one calendar year, you just have to report it to the IRS, and that is using a gift tax return. Now, if you want to give more than that, and you're near the end of the year, you can just split those gifts into 2 different years. Right now, I'm recording this near end or middle of December. So if you wanted to give $20,000 to one individual, you can give them $15,000 now and another $5,000 on January 1st. There you go, and you don't need to report it. Okay, so if you're wanting to give cash, that is what most people want to do when they're thinking of gifting money to a family member. Those are your limits, so stay within those or plan around them. But a second way of giving money to a family member or an adult child would be to consider giving highly appreciated stock, okay? So giving a gift that includes transferring mutual funds, transferring some investments, transferring some stock that you own. Now, what happens? How does this work? Well, you would have your brokerage account. You can't do this from a Roth or IRA or an IRA or 401k. You can't just transfer money from your IRA to their IRA. That doesn't work like that. But if you have a non-IRA account, an individual account, a joint account, a trust account, you can transfer money, you can transfer shares directly from that account to an investment account, a brokerage account, a joint account, individual account, or something of that adult family member. You can transfer those shares, absolutely. When you transfer those shares, you transfer your cost basis as well, okay? So if you bought some mutual fund for $6,000, it's grown to $10,000, you transfer those shares equal to $10,000 over to your adult child, well, they now own that $10,000 and their cost basis is $6,000. Meaning if they sell it, they'll have to report that difference of $4,000 as a capital gain, okay? Why would you consider doing this? Well, I mean, if you want to gift them an investment and so they can hold it for the long term, that's one reason, okay? But the other reason actually has to do with tax planning. You might look and say, well, I wanted to give them $10,000. Now I could sell this and claim the $4,000 of capital gain, but I'd actually be in a higher tax bracket than they would be. Therefore, I'm going to transfer this $10,000 to them. They can then sell it. They'll have to report the $4,000 of capital gains, but they're in a lower tax bracket. Maybe they're in the 12% tax bracket, and they're not going to have to pay any tax on that capital gain where you would, right? So the other, if you're wanting to make a gift, give money to a family member, adult, child, something like that, you could just write a check. Another idea is to transfer or gift them stock or a mutual fund or some other investment. Which one makes sense? Work with your CFP on that. I've seen both of those make sense. I've seen both of those not make sense depending on the circumstances. Work with your CFP. The third idea that I would have you consider if you're wanting to give money to a family member is to give money with a purpose. And so how do you do that? We're definitely very cautious about giving the gift with a string attached. That's an obligation. That's not a gift. So if you're just giving someone money and saying, well, now I own you, now I control you, now I get to influence what you do, you got to be careful of that, okay? But sometimes you might say, well, I want to give a gift to help my child cover college expenses for their kids. Well, a great way to consider doing that is to fund the 529 plan directly. Create a 529 plan where you're the owner. Okay, the successor owner might be your child and the student listed is your grandchild. And then you can donate money, you can give money directly into that 529 plan where you then can control the investment. You might be able to get some state tax credits. The growth and accumulation of that grows tax deferred as long as it's used for qualifying educational expenses. It should come out tax-free. If you're not interested in doing that, you might help or ask your adult child if they've got a 529 plan set up, and you can just make a donation directly into that. Okay, so gift with a purpose. That's one. Another way is you could just make a gift directly onto their mortgage, right? Or directly onto some debt. You got to be careful. That might not be the wise choice, or they might say, we actually don't want extra money going to that right now because we might be moving or something. You know, who knows? I don't know, but that's a step you could take. I've even seen some parents make a gift of funding the Roth IRA for their adult child. And we see this all the time. If you've got a child that's just graduated college, or maybe they're in college and they're working a little bit and it's all the money they have, so they're not able to save up for their own financial future just yet, but they've got earnings and you want them to start funding that Roth IRA, to start that 5-year clock and to get that money growing and compound interest. And so you might just gift for them, hey, let's go together, set up a Roth IRA, and I'll fund that contribution. Now, it'd need to be structured as a gift, but your CFP could help you through that. So careful with gifts with strings attached. I'm not recommending that, but gifts with a purpose is another idea. Connected to that, the gift of financial planning. That often, I mean, when you want to make a financial gift to an adult child or family member, oftentimes you want to bless them with those finances and help it be a blessing to them. Well, what better way than to look at helping them get into a financial planning relationship, comprehensive financial planning relationship, where those dollars, that gift, helps create financial freedom for all of their goals for years and decades to come. That's not self-serving. We've seen it happen. It's significant benefit, significant blessing to those adult children. So work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team that can help you figure out which of these options or others make the most sense for you, you can always contact a CFP on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with a K. WiseMoneyShow.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.